Hello everyone, welcome. Thanks for watching. I am Sarah and this is Tammy. And
Hi.
this is a makeup session because last Friday we tried to go live and my computer crashed and we couldn't. So I know we usually live on Friday mornings, but here we are on Thursday mornings. And Tammy is going to talk to us about the emotion code. I am so excited about this. So before we get started, please remember, if you comment live right now as you watch, or if you do hashtag replay, when you watch the replay later on, you have until Sunday night, and then on Monday we're going to do a raffle, a drawing, and Tammy's going to give the little Breathe doTERRA, I would imagine, right? Essential
It's a
oil.
roller. Yeah.
A roller, which is amazing and smells delicious. And so good luck to those of you who choose to participate and comment today. With all of that said, let me just go ahead and let's get started. Can you share with us from the beginning? Tell us a little bit about you first and how we met and the work we've been doing together, and then jump right into the emotion code and all of that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Tammy Plett. My company is Healthy to You, and I do energy work utilizing the modality of the emotion code. And I've been on some of the networking sites and Connect Utah, and saw Sarah introduce herself when she moved out here. It was interesting. Because I like to find things that are like similar in the same lines, that type of thing I like to learn. And so I set up an appointment just to meet her, and we talked, and it was that instant, I know exactly where you're coming from. I get you. I'm on the same line. Like that was, we were laughing, and I asked her why she moved here, and she said, I don't know. And I said, I love that. That's totally along my lines of how I function, how I emotionally function, things like that. I don't always know. I just know. So that's how we met. She introduced her 90-day awakening program, and that intrigued me. So I found out more and started taking that. And that has definitely, that word awakening, whoa, that has definitely been it. It has been amazing. So that's a little bit about how we got connected. So there's many forms of energy work. I've utilized massage for years. That's a form of energy work. And that's kind of a more acceptable, mainstream. People don't think that that's hokey, weird, wacky, anything. You like, it's just massage, right? But it's still energy work. You're still moving energy. So this type of work goes with the subconscious mind, because there's 90% of our behavior is governed by our subconscious mind. So if you take yourself back to 8th grade science class, where you learned about protons, neutrons, electrons, atoms, masses, they do the little shimmering thing because they're energy. You put them all together and those become the masses. Those masses become our bodies, the computer that we're on, the food that we eat, the trees, the environment, like everything around us is made up of a mass. So here's this mass, and you break it down, and it becomes energy. So everything is energy. Energy talks to energy. If sunflowers can't find the sun and there's no sun, they will turn towards each other so that they can feed off of each other's energy that way. Otherwise, they're always going and facing towards the sun, correct? So that energy talks to each other. Yes.
Sunflowers turn to face towards each other if there's no sun. I've never heard this before. That is so fascinating.
Yeah. If there's no sun, or if it goes too long without sun, they turn towards each other. If they're close enough, that's the direction. So next time you see a sunflower field and it's cloudy out, see what some of them are doing. It may not be all of them, but see if they're trying to turn towards each other so they can feed off each other's energy.
That is so interesting. The other thing that you just said, that when 90% of my behavior is coming from my subconscious mind. Now, explain to me what that means when you talk about unconscious or subconscious. Is there a difference, or are these two words for the same thing? And what do you mean by that?
So if you're shopping and you are making a decision between this product or that color of shirt or that color of shirt, there's a reason why you are choosing what you choose. It's not just, well, I like purple, so I'm going to buy purple, right? There's a reason why I like purple. There are experiences that I've had previously that have ingrained that I'm not consciously aware of. It's in my subconscious mind. It's the same with smells. So if my conscious mind is functioning off of what my subconscious is, I either like or dislike according to the experiences that I have had that I may or may not be conscious of. Because our subconscious mind is our database. It stores every single smell, memory, every person you've ever met, everything you've ever tasted, everything in our entire lives and previously is stored in our subconscious mind. So that's when that term deja vu comes up. It's like, I think I've been here before, or I remember this, or something like that. It's because somewhere along those lines, something has happened that then triggers that conscious mind to be able to be like, oh, yeah, there's something familiar. I have no idea what, but there's something familiar about it.
So how does the emotion code relate to these two concepts of the sunflowers and the subconscious mind?
So if you have an ailment, so we'll say, like someone who has had shoulder pain for years and years, they've had MRIs, they've been to chiropractors, they've had massage, they cannot get this shoulder pain to go away. No doctor, all the x-rays, nothing's wrong, right? They get a clean bill of health. There's absolutely no explanation why this shoulder pain is happening. Well, because energy is balls of energy. You can't see them, but they can be like up to that, up to a cantaloupe size. They can be super small up to be cantaloupe size. If something negative is stuck in your body system, it can create that shoulder pain that is not explainable. That energy pain in the shoulder can be related back to, and it's all a matter of where your subconscious mind, when you muscle test and you ask the right questions, when you go back and you say, you may find out that 15 generations earlier, your great-great-grandfather got hit by a buffalo, I don't know, on the right shoulder. And that created a lot of chaos for him and a lot of pain the rest of his life. And it was so painful for him that energy of that pain got stuck in his body and then got handed down generations until it got to that person, and that's where it is. So consciously, you're aware that you have pain. Subconsciously, unconsciously, you have no idea why you have pain.
Okay, this is
your subconscious mind knows.
So many questions and so many thoughts. Before I ask my questions, for those of you who are watching live, comment below, let us know who's there. Say hello, ask us any questions that you might have, and comment if this is resonating with you. So, this is very interesting because, as you know, I do a little bit of energy work as well. Not a little bit, energy work is my thing. But I always like to listen to someone else's perspective on it and their explanation of it. I think that as humans, it's very helpful for us to kind of look at things from a different light and a different perspective. And one of the things that you just said that kind of made me go, that's an interesting way of explaining it. You're basically saying our subconscious mind is not just affected by our own experiences, but also by our ancestral, what I call the Akashic records of like generations and generations of positive or negative behavior, right? Like it doesn't matter. Subconscious is both ways. And so I like this analogy of, you don't know why, and you literally don't know why, because it could be that it's not necessarily something that happened to you in this lifetime, but it's something that happened to one of your ancestors, and that it's just the vibration in your energy system that is creating. Exactly. And then what happens in my experience is you begin to then act that out, okay? Like you begin to create scenarios, situations, whether positive or negative, that are the momentum of that ancestral energy.
That's correct.
Okay, keep
That's
going.
correct. There have been studies done with mice that they take them through this maze, and at this certain spot, they will send an electric shock through there. And so after a time or two of this group of mice coming through this maze, they then choose to go the other direction rather than that direction where the shock is, right? So then I can't remember exactly if it was one generation or two generations later, they put the ancestors, they put the babies from that original group in that same maze, and not one of them goes past that spot, even though they've never been through past that spot and gotten shocked. Not one of them goes through the spot. They go the other route. They don't know why they're not going past there, but their DNA does.
Yeah, that to me is so enlightening, to be honest with you, because
fascinating.
You know, the amount of energy that it takes to shift something that you don't even know where it's coming from or how it got there. It's just like ingrained in your system is how you operate, and then to have to catch it and change it in a conscious way so you could take a different action. But what I like about your emotion code approach is like, you're like, it doesn't matter, just get it out.
And that's the thing, is it's not like laying on a fainting couch drudging up from 1972 the trauma that happened, right? You don't have to talk about it. You don't even have to remember it. So once it is signified and come down to that point, either you will say, oh, I know exactly what was happening to me in that point of my life, or yes, I remember my grandpa, this is what happened to him around that, you know, that time frame as well. Or it's like, I have no clue. It doesn't matter, because your subconscious mind knows, and your subconscious mind is like, get it out, we're done with this, we don't want this anymore. So you release that and you're able to move on. So we'll go back to the person with the shoulder pain. So if he has some energy work done, and again, this is just one modality, if he has energy work done and he gets rid of negative energy and it's pinpointed to his shoulder can heal. Even though he's taken all the x-rays, all the doctors, no one knows what's wrong with him, his shoulder can heal because that negative energy is no longer circulating in that body. So it helps, yes.
So how do you do that though? Because that, okay, like this all sounds amazing, and I'm playing devil's advocate and at the same time like genuinely asking, like, you know, like, okay, and so how do you do that? So this energy is ready to come up, to come out. What is your process like? What does it feel like? What does the student or client have to do? What place do they have to be energetically, mentally, emotionally in order for this process to actually work?
So they have to want to. They have to be open to energy work. They have to be open to healing. There are times where it's muscle tested and the body says, nope, I'm not ready to release that yet. And the subconscious mind won't, even though it's being directed there, when you ask, can we release this? It'll say no. It's like, this is comfortable. I can't let go yet.
And I'll ask why. Like, I know the answers, but I want to know, like, your explanation. And for students who are watching right now, why would the system do that? Why would the system say, no, I want this pain, I want this discomfort, I'm not ready to release it? Why?
Well, one of the things I've learned from you. It's the pain body. It's because it's familiar. It's because it wants to stay there. Our body wants to be in a state that it's familiar with. And this is why, you know, later we'll talk about essential oils, but this is, you know, it wants to stay in that state. So you're asking it to release something that it's used to. It may have another underlying emotion that we've not covered yet. It may have something else that's still hanging on to it, that's a residual that we've not discovered, because it can only release for the questions that we're asking. And if we're not getting to the exact point, sometimes the body at that point will say, nope, I'm tired of talking. Try again in a couple days. Try again next week. Address it next week. Maybe I'll be ready next week. So it's kind of like softening it. That's one of the reasons why sometimes when you get right down to it, the body will say, no, I'm not ready to release this. And that does happen, but most of the time, the subconscious mind is doing a happy dance going, hallelujah, kick this thing out. I don't want this anymore. Let's get rid of this, because it can help with sleep, stress, grief, pain. Everyone out there has heart walls. Heart walls is like an onion, all the layers of the onion, just like Shrek says. You got to peel away the layers of the onion, because everybody has a protective coating. There's happened to every single person. You could have been 3 years old, or you could be 90 years old, and you have put a layer on your heart so that you're not being hurt.
So I'll comment on that, and while I comment, if you guys are watching, say hello in the comments, wave to us so that we know you're there, and feel free to ask any questions about energy or anything you're experiencing. Let us know if this resonates with you, what we're talking about. So, you said you're right. The system likes to stay safe, likes to stay in a familiar place. And I will add to that sometimes maybe that's why healing can be a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit scary, right? Because you're having to leave that comfort zone of, pain and dysfunction that somehow has managed to help you be safe and survive and function up until now. And the minute that you let it go, it's like you don't know how you're going to function, because this is all you've ever known. And so this is why healing takes courage, and a lot of determination and openness, because you have to be willing to become someone else, to think in a different way, to see things in a different way. And I think the other thing that happens, just to finish this thought, and then we'll move on more into what you have to share, is the system, once it realizes what the dysfunction is, it cannot not do something about it. It's going to have to do something about it. So sometimes if you let this pain come up and you let it go, you're then going to have to take conscious action to create a different reality and take responsibility, etc., etc. And this is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And from my experience, for someone who's never done any energy work, be prepared for after your first session to be super tired, because it is a lot of work. And even though we've just sat and talked and we've done like a session, you haven't physically moved your body, your whole system is just drained and you're extremely tired. I had one client that was tired for 2 weeks, like more than her normal. She was tired. We met once a week, and she was tired for a solid 2 weeks and just yawned continually. But after those 2 weeks of her processing, and 2 different sessions, she was like, okay, I'm starting to feel better now, and I'm starting to have more energy. And yes, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And once you let go, you are awakened. You're awakened to the fact that you were carrying this burden. You just knew something was wrong and you didn't know what. So once that burden has started to be lifted, you're like, this is lighter. I feel great. Like, let's do more of this.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday, and he was sharing a story about how he started to meditate, and he said to his teacher, I don't understand. Every time I meditate, I'm itchy. And the teacher's like, dude, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's what I would have said. I would have been like, dude, you're always itchy. You just don't know it until you sit to meditate, right? So like you say, sometimes people are disconnected from their body.
Yes.
They function in a very not want to deal with my problems way, not want to feel, not want to face. Then when they begin to connect and they begin to do that healing, now all of a sudden they feel tired, they feel exhausted, they feel the pain, and they're like, oh, this healing sucks. I'm like, no. It's always been there. You just weren't allowing yourself to feel. You have no idea how many times I went through to my teacher, and I will feel like I will get out of the sessions like I just climbed a mountain. Because it's like you're lifting the level of consciousness and you're going way up energetically, and then the physical body's like, okay.
Wait,
oh my God. Go ahead, continue.
Yes. So there's 5 stages of healing. You have to heal the physical body. You have to heal the heart. And healing the heart is a process. We have to release the trapped emotions before we can receive the positive. So we're removing negative. The body likes homeostasis. So we like to be at a certain level. So we're going to replace it with the positive, and that's the essential oils. That's what makes me different than any other emotion code practitioner out there, is my belief in my use of essential oils and the positive part that it can bring, especially releasing negative emotions. So all of my clients, so the first session after the first session, I muscle test to see what's best for them. I send them what I call an aura spray, which is just a tiny little bottle. And because your crown chakra is your line of communication, think of the soft spot with babies when they're born, right? So the crown chakra is your communication. This is where you're talking. This is where you're receiving. And so the aura spray sprays over your crown chakra, filters down into your olfactory system. Your olfactory system is your sniffer, goes to your limbic brain. That's where your memories are stored and created. So if you have a bad connotation to something, if some smell bothers you, it's because something has happened and it just doesn't resonate with you. I had a boyfriend in 7th grade that used a certain kind of shampoo. He might as well just dumped a bottle of perfume over him. His comb smelled like his shampoo, his clothes, he was probably highly flammable, right? When I was in 7th grade. But so years later, when I was married and had kids, I was walking in a store. I have no idea if it was the same shampoo or if it was something like so close to that smell. I got a whiff of that and instantly was brought back to my 7th grade boyfriend. Was I thinking about him previously? Of course not. I hadn't thought about him in years and years. But because of that connection from what I smelled, it triggered that memory of what I had previously experienced. So we're giving you an essential oil. We are creating a new positive association. So even though you don't have to say, okay, this is what I'm letting go, this is the energy, you don't have to label it, you don't have to know, you're just releasing it. You're then giving your body the opportunity to create new awareness and new communication for it. So releasing the limiting beliefs, they can be long-term, deeply rooted in our subconscious. They are a framework that forms the lens that through which we look at life through. And we talked about having it being generational as well. It gives us patterns that we do that we may not know why we do those patterns. We need to increase the spiritual awareness and connection, hence the fact I'm taking Sarah's class. Mm-hmm. And we need to inspire and fulfill life's purpose. So to heal holistically, we need to have all of these combinations of things that we pull in to be able to do that, to be able to heal.
Do that list again. That's just so that people get a chance, because it's so profound. It's so simple, and yet It's so profound. Go ahead and do it again.
So our house, our body, this is what houses our spirit. This is our rented body. We need to heal the physical body. So whatever is hurting, we need to heal the physical body. And in doing that, in one of the ways that we do that, we have to heal the heart. Your physical body has a lot harder time healing if your heart isn't healed. If you clear your heart wall, if you clear the negative emotions out of your body system and out of your body, out of your heart, your physical body has a lot better chance of healing. Releasing limiting beliefs, changing the framework. If you change the framework, you change the view. We have stories we tell ourselves. Those stories aren't even true. Those are negative stories. That is, Johnny tells Sally, hey, tell Sue that I like her. Sally tells Johnny, Sue says she doesn't like you. Johnny, 40 years later, still has self-esteem issues because in 2nd grade, Sue said that she didn't like him.
Yeah.
That's a story we tell ourselves.
And all the other limiting stories that come from our ancestrals and what's possible and what's not possible. And this is why sometimes just having a guide, a teacher, someone outside of your bubble that can say and kind of like just burst it and say limiting belief, limiting belief, limiting belief. And that's really all you need. Like, this is not rocket science to change your limiting beliefs. It's just a lot of the times you don't have another point of reference. What you know is what you know. And the next one was spirit, wasn't it?
Yes, but sometimes it is rocket science because we don't know that we have limiting beliefs. That's the first key right there, is to realize, because you grow up in a home where you're asking your parents for something and it's like, we can't afford that. Oh, we can't go out to dinner because we can't afford that. Your limiting beliefs are going to be starting to hinge inside of you as there's never enough money. There's never enough. I have a lack of abundance because there's never enough in the world. So you're taking that on to your adult life and you're going to function the exact same way, or you're going to go completely opposite and you're going to spend every single penny you get and get yourself in debt because you haven't been able to get rid of that limiting belief.
And it's so different because just the other day I was talking to you and I forget what came up and I said some silly statement like, I'm not trying to get rich doing this, something like, and you're like, oh, whoa, limiting belief. And I'm like, darn. And I'm like, and I went back and I'm like, okay, where does that come from, right? And I'm like, my parents are immigrants. They're used to struggling. They came here with nothing. It's like, you gotta work hard, you gotta work, you gotta work, you gotta work. And your entire sense of identity comes from that place of like, in order to make money, in order to have abundance, I'm allowed to, but I gotta work for it. I gotta like bust my butt for it and like really put in these long days, etc., etc. So that's an example of like, you're right. I don't know what my limiting belief. I think I'm doing okay. I'm comfortable charging what I charge for my services, whatever the story is, but I'm not aware of this limiting belief that I had until I said to you, I'm not trying to get rich. And you're like, ah. And that's what I mean. Like, unless you have somebody with a different belief kind of just pointed out to you and say, no, watch out, burst your bubble over there, look at it this way. Even though you're right, they're hard to identify, but they're a lot easier for somebody else in a different set of bubble belief that they can see it and they can go, nope, not reality, not reality, not real. I'm gonna mute because I have I have construction going on. But what were the other things on your list that you have to do to heal?
Okay, increase spiritual awareness and connection. I highly suggest anyone who hasn't taken or is signed up for Sarah's 90-day awareness course, you need to do that. You definitely need to do that. And inspire fulfillment of life's purpose. So all of those put together, so the previous four, they're all essential to healing holistically. So,
can I just say something about that? In regards to the spiritual part, I think that in a way, religion had served that purpose up until not so long ago. And then as people started to leave their religions because of the limited constraints that humans created around the religion, then they left it and now they have no spirituality. And to me, that's a huge mistake. Like, religion has a purpose. Somebody said to me once, people miss the purpose of religion. Oh no, they said to me, religion misses the purpose. And I'm like, no. Religion does not miss the purpose. The people miss the purpose of religion, which was to be connected to a force greater than ourselves. And I am like a huge proponent. I don't care what you call it, God, divine creator, life force, energy. There is something. I like to call it God because that's the right name for it. But if you're not comfortable with that for whatever reason, which I don't freaking understand, then call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But there is something that gives you life, right? And if we leave that part of it, if we take the word soul and spirit out of your healing, and you're trying to just heal emotions and mind and conscious and subconscious, you're missing the
link.
Power that can come from actually having the courage to say the words spirit and soul and God and divine creator and whatever you have. So just a side note there, because I think that a lot of the times the reason humans suffer is because we're trying to fix it from the human perspective and we forget how powerful
Right.
this divine force that gives us life and made us can be, and how healing it can be, and how much surrender you have towards this. And just because we are in a politically correct world and we don't want to offend anybody's and their different version of religion or God, we actually miss a huge part of what really allows us to heal. Okay,
it's like your chakra chart back on your door. If you're working on your chakras and you're working on the alignment, but yet you're not willing to look at one of them, you want to heal all the rest of them, but you don't want to heal one of them, you're not going to be in alignment. Your aura is always going to have these jags out from it. So yeah, all of that has to be in alignment. They all have a purpose, and everyone has their own level of spirituality. And it doesn't matter what religion you belong to. Everyone has it. Everyone has the opportunity to it. So I belong to an institute called Inside Out Institute that I joined after I got my certificate in the Emotion Code. And this is a healing institute that brings on people who wants to be transformational coaches in the healing world, and people who do want to be healers, and maybe they haven't taken the Emotion Code, but they would like to. But maybe those people that are like, well, I don't want to do my own business because it's too much work. So you work inside of that institute, and they have a program that you go through, and the support is amazing. They give you all of the things that you would put on your social media. You don't have to have a website. You use all of their literature, all of their information. It is one big, huge family that gives you hugs every single day virtually. And at the end of the 26-week course, you graduate, and then you work with them, and they are the ones that give you the client. That's one of the things that you can choose. It has been phenomenal. I highly recommend anyone to, if you're slightly interested, please reach out to me. They are raising their prices to come into the Institute in the 1st of October. So if you're slightly interested, let's get together, let's talk about it before then. So I wanted to go over the description of the roller, which is so fitting. So this is a breathe roller. It's a doTERRA roller. I want to read you the emotional part of breathe. Breathe addresses the inability to let go of grief and pain. The root of this condition is feeling unloved. Individuals grieve the love they never received. Breathe encourages individuals to release grief and sadness and to receive genuine love and healing. It also supports one's relationship with spirit and deepens one's connection to life. It invites individuals to let go, breathe out, and receive, breathe in. It teaches individuals to embrace life through breath. And in taking Sarah's course, this is so apropos. As soon as I was deciding, what would be appropriate to do as a raffle, breathe came to me. And then as soon as it came to me, I started remembering all of the emotional properties to it. And I was just like, oh, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Sarah has taught me how to breathe.
Thank you. Thank you for that testimonial, and thank you for sharing. And it's funny because I lead this group and I like to highlight other modalities and other students and other practices and other institutes. Why? Because I think that there's the right teacher for everyone at the right time. And you have to find the practice and the teacher that feels right for you at this time. And there's no wrong path and there's no right path. There's just the path that feels right in your heart. And I work at a certain level, and sometimes because of that, people are like, oh my God, this is like the real deal, so serious, like this is gonna take so much commitment and so much of everything. And I'm like, yep, you will. I'm not gonna sugar. But I think that there is a beauty in every step of the journey. And so wherever you choose to start, Tammy, this is where you started. Like when you first had a little bit of an awakening, you didn't know what to do and where to go, and you probably wouldn't have been ready to do the work that we're doing in the 90-day program. But this emotion code was accessible to you. It was understandable. It was relatable. It was something that you could connect with at the time. And now you're taking what you're learning through my course and applying it to your clients and your students with what you've learned from the emotion code. So I really do think that there's a time and a place for everyone to grow at their own pace with whatever resonates with them. And so it's a little bit I don't know. I just believe in total inclusion and having an open mind and in giving as much as I can and enlightening and sharing. I have this wonderful group of women and this platform to share all this beautiful knowledge with. And why not? Because it might speak to someone. And
Exactly.
so I thank you so much for taking the time to share this with us today. It's been super enlightening. Every time that we go through this, it's different words. I was talking to someone this morning who said, it's like the same thing but in different words. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's because all paths lead up the same mountain. And yes, if you are on the right path, you will listen to the same thing in different ways, but you have no idea how many times I have learned something and then a few years later I learned the same thing and I go, now I get it.
Right.
And so I always love listening to everyone's perspectives and their views and like sometimes even the systematic approach to things, which I think sometimes I'm like, it just is, right? But you're like, no, you have to heal the body, you have to connect with spirit, you have to open your heart, you have to find your purpose and fulfill it. And, that systematic approach can actually help someone to say, there's like a little system here that I can easily follow. So thank you so much. Anything else that you want to add?
All my information is in the post that Sarah originally did, my website, my Facebook page, my Instagram.
Yes. So it's on this post as well. I copied and pasted all of that information right above on this post, Tammy's links. And if you ever want to schedule a call with me, just go to my website and schedule a call with me as well if you have any questions or if you are interested in any of my programs. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Remember, if you put hashtag replay on the replay, you'll be entered to win the roller. You have until Sunday night to do that. On Monday, I'm going to go ahead and do the raffle. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Sarah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.